Hello, everybody, and welcome to our first virtual business workshop here in 2021. My name is Michael Casale. I'm the Commissioner of the Niagara County Department of Economic Development. And just quickly, a couple of housekeeping items. We're going to be conducting 6 of these business workshops throughout the year. 3 of them are going to be content specific, like today's workshop, which will focus on workforce development and training. So I'd like to thank our presenters today, and they include Donald Jablonski, Director of the Niagara County Department of Employment and Training, Dennis Martinez, who is Regional Coordinator for Business Engagement at Access VR, Karen Quandrons, who's Assistant VP of Academic Affairs, Niagara County Community College Workforce Development Center, and Joe Steinmetz, who's Interim Director, Adult and Continuing Education Programs at Orleans Niagara BOCES. A quick reminder, so you don't have to go crazy taking notes, we're going to be sending all of you attendees an email sometime soon, so that it's going to have the slide deck that you're going to be seeing today on it, so you don't have to go crazy taking notes. It'll contain active links for you, so you can click on and contact our presenters and get some information off of the slide deck. And you'll also be getting in the mail our Connections for Business publication that I'm going to talk about in just a minute. So those are some nice items for you as you attend our workshop. A couple of other housekeeping items. You are going to be muted throughout this presentation. If you have a question, please use the Q&A panel at the bottom of the screen, and we'll answer your question at the end of our program. If we cannot answer all the questions in our allotted time, we'll follow up with you afterwards and get you the information that you need. Today's workshop is designed to give you an overview of the various programs that are out there. We'd be happy to schedule a one-on-one meeting with you to discuss any of the programs in more detail. Just let us know again in that Q&A panel, and we'll reach back out to you. So let's begin our workshop. This first slide, of course, is my contact information. Again, those are going to be live links, and they'll be emailed to you, so you'll be able to click on my email address and send me an email. Next slide, Kathy. Just a little bit about the Niagara County Department and Center for Economic Development. I'll tell you what, as we've gone through this pandemic, we've been compiling information on a slew of programs that our Economic Development Alliance partners administer, as well as New York State business reopening guidelines to assist you in conducting business in a manner that's safe for you, your staff, and your customers. If you go to our website, and there you see it on this slide. Again, that'll be a direct link that you'll be able to click on. You'll be able to click on that red, you'll see it in the bottom right-hand side, COVID-19 button at the top of our page. And you can also sign up to receive our e-newsletters that promote our programs and all of those of all of our partners, some of which you're going to hear from in just a few moments. Slide, Kathy. Our department's reached out on average to 75 businesses every year to keep a good dialogue open with our companies and to update them on new and existing resources available to them. With the onset of COVID-19, we've stepped up our game a little bit, and we contacted 100 companies last year. This year, our goal is to reach out to 150 companies. So if you would like our team to meet with you, we can do it in person, we can do it virtually. Just let us know in that Q&A panel, and we'll set something up with you ASAP and email you a confidential fillable form questionnaire that you see on this slide to give us a snapshot of your company needs. Next slide, Kathy, is Connections for Business. This is the publication I spoke about just a moment ago. It's the Bible, really, with contact information of all of our economic development partners, and the ones that'll be presenting today, they're all included in that booklet. It's really a great book to have as you're searching resources. And I'll tell you what, if you look at that book, and you'll be getting it in the mail, and look at all of the resources and programs available, if you feel you'd like to go after any of them, we'd love you to give us a call, and we'd be more than happy to set up a meeting with ourselves or any of our partners. Next, Kathy. Low-cost power programs are critical with some companies that are pretty electric intensive. The county legislature here in Niagara has created the Empower Niagara Low-Cost Power Program. This is to assist small businesses that don't qualify for the New York Power Authority power programs. This slide gives you the qualifying criteria for that program, and an online application can be found on our website. New York Power Authority has low-cost power programs as well, including the expansion power, replacement power, the Recharge New York power programs. EP and RP have a minimum allocation of 100 kW and are evaluated on job creation and capital investment. Applicants must be doing a project within the 30-mile radius of the Niagara Power Project and be making a long-term commitment to our region. Recharge New York is the Power Authority's signature program. It's a statewide incentive, and you can learn more at an upcoming webinar next week. You can register by clicking on the link on the slide you see in the bottom right-hand corner of this slide, or right there in the third bullet where it says register here. And you'll be getting this slide in an email. So if you want to learn more about Recharge, just click that register here button. Next slide, Kathy. This is a new program, relatively new program. It's the EIC OpenSea PACE program. It's a unique financing program that channels private capital funding to industrial, commercial, and nonprofit building owners for renewable or energy efficiency upgrades. Financing from EIC approved capital projects could cover up to 100% of your project cost. You can get more information about the program, including a fillable online application, again, on our website. Next slide, Kathy. Susan Longden is the executive director of the Niagara County Industrial Development Agency. This is her contact information. I'm here to talk a bit about the NCIDA programs. They have a number of programs, including real property sales tax and mortgage recording tax abatements. If you do not qualify for the NCIDA real property tax abatement or pilot program, you can take advantage of the New York State 485B program, which in essence is a 10-year pilot for significant non-maintenance improvements that would add to the assessment of your property. Tax relief would come on the value-added portion of your project or property. The NCIDA can also provide gap financing for projects through one of their loan funds. Next slide, Kathy. These are the types of projects that can be assisted by the IDA. Manufacturing, warehouse, distribution, research development, commercial, tourism destination, healthcare, senior housing, transportation, and it's important to say qualifying retail because by state statute, IDA can't do retail, but they can do tourist destination or retail in the distressed area, according to the Census Bureau. So that pretty much is my piece of this. We want you to know we're here for you. If you've got questions, please use that Q&A panel. Let's get now to our main topic today, and that's workforce development and training. And first up is my good friend, Donald Jablonski, Executive Director of Niagara County Employment and Training. Don, take it away.
Thank you, Mike. I certainly do appreciate it. And good morning, everyone. I'd like to acknowledge my fellow panelists with whom we have very close working relationships with. And as you will see throughout these presentations, we kind of intertwine and intermingle our programs. So we actually are very well connected to one another. So if you don't get an answer from one of us, another one of us will be able to answer your question or be able to direct you to the right area. With that in mind, Kathy, could you go to the next slide? Thank you. As far as Niagara's WorkSource One, Niagara County Employment and Training, we have a variety of different training resources. For the first one is the on-the-job training funding, which we will reimburse between 50 and 75% of all your startup costs for any additional training for a qualified new hire. And then that way you'll be able to at least, we'll absorb some of the costs that you'll be able to do to fill the skills gap. That goes for almost any small business. If you are a larger business, then we'll pay 50%, and that goes up to $5,000 per employee. So that's a big boost, and that's a big help to your bottom line. The second piece of it is customized training funds. That's a little bit of a misnomer, because what that does pay for is the trainer to come in, and we will pay up to 50% of that total training cost for the trainer, whether it be a new machine or a computer program or other type of software. That way they can come in and you can apply for a 50% reimbursement for that entire cost. Kath, next slide. Recruitment tools. We know how hard it is to recruit employees now, especially with COVID-19. This has been a very, very difficult time. With us, we are probably one of the best kept secrets in Niagara County. On a normal year, we have approximately 12,000 people that come through our doors, either physically or online, where we can match people with job openings. We hold weekly recruiting events up in our center, where we can have up to 30 interested candidates come and discuss your company's opportunities. We'll even pre-screen for the interviews. Our professional opportunity developers group is something for mid and upper management candidates, whether it be some sort of project management or engineering or some accounting. We will act as a headhunter of sorts, and we don't charge anything for any of the services. We'll also post and promote any of your job openings in high profile locations, including our hot jobs page. It'll go out to the Western New York job paper. It'll go out to the New York State job site, and it'll even get out to Indeed and Glassdoor and Monster. They'll pick up some of our higher end jobs as well. So you have very, very good coverage when you need to recruit. I'm going to tell you right now that there is a dearth of candidates out there now for a lot of positions. So there's a lot of competition for that same employer. I anticipate it changing once we start coming out of COVID, but right now our resume bank, which is akin to our hot jobs postings, we have low inventory now for qualified workers. So it's kind of an ebb and flow, but I anticipate that changing. Next slide, Kath. Thank you. What we'll do in addition to everything else, we will review qualified applications, and through our, like I was mentioning, through our Niagara's Talent resume feature, we can send those. We'll do job matching for you. We will screen potential applicants qualified to match your specifications. We'll open open interview sessions as needed to meet your staffing demands. We will do pre-employment literacy or skills testing, but that's something that we have not started up yet because of COVID-19. That's something we are hoping to do in the very near future. We'll do testing for your, if you have something specialized that you need skills testing for, we can do that, and we do that for several companies. We also do certain things like for people with, how do I put this, disabilities, but that's where my friend Dennis Martinez comes in. Him and I, we work very, very closely together, and we actually refer a lot of our candidates out because he has an excellent program for people with unique abilities. With that in mind, thank you, everybody. Our website is WorkSource One. That is the number one, WorkSource One at Niagara County. Thank you. I appreciate it, and take it away.
Thank you, Don. And just a reminder to all of our attendees this morning, we are going to be sending you an email soon, which will have this slide deck, and it'll also have hot links in it. So you can click on Don's email address and get right to him if you got a question for Don. Next up on our docket is Dennis Martinez. He's Regional Coordinator for Business Engagement at Access VR. It's all yours, Dennis.
Okay, I unmuted myself. Hey, all right. So whatever Don said, I second that. But we work together as Don said. We both do workforce development. He works with the general population. I work with a more specialized population, and that are people with disabilities. Access VR, well, okay. That's good. Access VR is part of the New York State Education Department. It's a federal program. It's been around for 100 years. VR services in the United States. There are two programs similar in content in New York State. One is Access VR, and the other was the New York State Commission for the Blind. And you can sort of guess what they do. and who they serve. Anyway, so what we do is we help people with disabilities who come to us who have an interest in employment. Our program is based upon eligibility. It's not an entitlement program, and no one can be forced or mandated to participate. It's purely voluntary. The people that come with disabilities come from all different sources, all different walks of life, all different backgrounds. The access via our office in this part of the state is our main office is in Buffalo, but we serve 8 counties of Western New York, and one of those counties certainly is Niagara. At any one time, we are serving about 6,000 active cases. We have 31 counselors in our office, each with a caseload of probably 200 to 300 people. Let's see, what can we do on these bullets here? We provide the highest quality vocational rehabilitation to all eligible persons. What does high quality mean? I was thinking about that this morning. What does that mean by high quality? Well, you know, we just don't have case managers. We just don't have employ people off the street with associate's degrees to work with our clientele. We have, each one of our counselors is a master's level person, a master's level in vocational rehabilitation, so that they work with each individual on an individual plan for employment. And we have a wealth of knowledge and experience to help people prepare for the world of work in a lot of different ways. We provide them with training and education, 2-year and 4-year degrees we sponsor. We can also sponsor people from master's level programs. We work with people who are going into all kinds of occupations, from entry-level employment all the way up to professional technical work. We're a business partner with the community. We support employers and businesses throughout. And we work extensively with the other workforce development partners, including the one-stop centers and the Department of Labor, labor organizations, and schools. Each year, New York State places about 13,000 people with disabilities in some type of employment. The Buffalo District Office now is about 1/10 of that. So we place about 1,300 people in successful employment in all different kinds of occupations. Next slide. What can we provide to businesses? Well, no-cost recruitment for pre-screened applicants, sort of what Don was talking about. We have a lot of people that are ready to go to work, and we will help those individuals find the right job. And on the other side of the hall, we help businesses find the right people for the job. If you're interested in increasing the diversity of your workforce, if you are a federal contractor and have an affirmative action program, hiring somebody with a disability, recruiting people with disabilities is part of your plan. We have a local network of support. We work with a lot of non-for-profit groups that help us with individuals and getting jobs and actual placement support. We provide financial incentives to businesses as a thank you, not as the first step. Well, the first step is to find you a good candidate. The financial incentive is sort of the icing on the cake. We'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. And we can do no-cost training on disability issues for businesses that are interested in those kinds of things. Disability etiquette, for example, or disability awareness for your staff. If you're trying to increase the diversity of your workforce, you have to educate your staff about what that means. And we can do this because we have certification. We're all certified in providing that training through the ADA Center at Cornell University. And business engagement targeting adults and students. We work now mostly with adults, but we do now work more with students with disabilities to help prepare them for employment and not just wait until they graduate and then try to fix things, but to do it at an earlier age to create career pathways so that there are no surprises when people graduate from high school. they can get into the world of work fairly easily. Next slide. Okay, no cost recruitment of pre-screened applicants, similar to what Don was talking about. There's no agency fee. If you send us your job leads, we will try to find the best candidate within our ranks first of all. But if we can't find anybody in a reasonable amount of time, we will share that job lead with all our partners, with the Niagara County Employment and Training, and the other one-stops throughout the Buffalo Niagara region. We will also share with our vendors who help us in the job placement market, and other entities. We're in business to get you the right candidate. So if we can't do it from our own, we will certainly share with others. We have federal and New York State tax credits that we can help you certify, and wage reimbursement programs. The two that immediately come to mind are the on-the-job training program. I know Don talked a bit about his, ours is a little different, and the work tryout. Next slide, please. Our tax incentives that we are instrumental in helping to certify, the big ones here are the Work Opportunity Tax Credit, or the WOTC, which is a federal tax credit for hiring somebody with a disability. An employer can realize up to $2,400 in tax savings by utilizing that credit. And the Workers with Disability Employment Tax Credit, or the WETC, which is a New York State tax credit that kicks in during the second year of employment, whereas the WOTC is the first year. And that can help you realize a savings of $2,100 for each individual with a disability that you hire. So the total amount in savings on your corporate income tax comes out to 24 and 21, $4,500 in tax credit savings. The other ones listed there are also part of the things that we help out with. I won't go into detail. At the end of the slide presentation, you will, or my presentation, part of it anyway, you will see some resources, some links to the websites that explain those in more detail. Next slide, Kath. Okay, let's talk about the work tryout. Work tryout is exactly what it says. This is truth in advertising. It's trying out someone on the job, somebody with a disability who's in our program. What we do is we enter into an agreement with an employer for, let's pick on somebody. Let's say you want to hire Don, and you're not sure if Don can do the job. I'm just picking on you, Don, I'm sorry. You're not sure if Don can do the job. So we say, why don't you try him out? So you put him on the payroll, you give him the job, you expect him to do the job as any other employee would do, and you assess him. The agreement you have with Access VR is that you will assess his skills in doing the job for up to 480 hours, which is probably around 3 months at 40 hours a week. And in exchange for that, of trying Don out on your job, we will reimburse his gross wages at 100%. So that means that you will get all his wages back at the end of the program, whether or not Don works out on the job. If Don does a great job, and our expectations are that Don will do a really good job. But let's say he doesn't, and let's say he falls short someplace. Well, you're still going to get the wage reimbursement because that's the agreement. It's a work tryout. It's sort of like a probationary period. There are no expectations that you're going to retain Don on the job, but we hope that you will, and chances are that you will. In either case, you get 100% of the wages returned to you. Next slide. Our on-the-job training program can be, let's say, just for the sake of argument, that you took Don on the job and he didn't do well, and you feel he needed more training to do the job. Well, you could use the OJT in that sense to help Don learn the job, and then become a regular employee, or you could just hire somebody and do an OJT with them. With the work tryout, the emphasis is on trying the job. With an OJT, the emphasis is on training for the job. So as Mr. Jablonski had said, it's a reimbursement program. You take on an individual, you train them to do a specific job, you give us a training curriculum. It doesn't have to be fancy. It can be on your letterhead. You enter into an agreement with Access VR that you're going to train this individual to do the job, and at the end of the training period, you will retain them as a regular employee. In return, we are going to reimburse wages at 100% of their gross wages for up to 26 weeks, based on the complexity of the job and the complexity of the job and the skills necessary to achieve competency. The 26 weeks is the maximum. But if we feel that it's going to take longer than 6 months for an individual to learn a job, we can extend the OJT for an additional period at a lower rate of reimbursement. I think it's 50% if it goes beyond 6 months. But again, it's 100%. So you could do, theoretically, you can try somebody out on the job, assess their skills for 100% wage reimbursement for 3 months, and then you could theoretically continue with an OJT for up to 6 months, again at 100% wage reimbursement. Thank you. Next slide. And the last thing we do, maybe it's not the last thing, but it's the last thing on this presentation anyway, is we can also help individuals with disabilities to start their own business. People often come to us with ideas for businesses, and we help them form a business plan. We have consultants that will help with that process, and we will help with startup costs up to $11,000 to help an individual get going in their own business. And the Buffalo District Office does a lot of them, maybe more than other parts of the state, and we have a lot of success with self-employment for people with disabilities. Our latest success story is a gentleman who does podcasts. Room 9 Podcasts is the name of his company. And he came to us with an idea to do podcasts to help remove stigma surrounding certain types of disabilities, the disability, in fact, that he actually had. And we provided him with some computer equipment and other kinds of things to get him going on that. And he's become a phenomenal success. If you go to our website at Access VR and you go to our success stories, his name is Sean, you will see his story, and it really is cool. But we do a lot of that stuff as well. So if you have a disability, or you know somebody who has a disability who wants to start their own business or grow their own business a little bit more, you can put them in touch with us. Okay, and next slide. And these are our resource links for the WOTC. You're going to get the slide deck, so you'll have access to this stuff, and the WETC, and the WETC application, and the Workers with Disabilities Tax Credit, and the other tax credits that I mentioned before. And I think that's it. If you hit the next slide, yeah, it is. Thank you very much for listening to me. If you have any questions, put them in the Q&A. If not, we'll move on with Karen.
Dennis, we appreciate that. It's just some great programs for both Don and Dennis. And, you know, just to really quickly follow up on the self-employment at Access VR, you know, take advantage of it if you're looking to start your own business. And then you can come to some of our other partners like the IDA. The IDA is currently, they've run a micro enterprise assistance program. They're applying for more funding for that micro enterprise. So go along with the 11,000, if you need a loan for working capital, the IDA could be there for you if they do, if they're successful in getting the additional funds. I know that there are micro loan programs in all 3 cities too, in Lockport, North Tonawanda, and the city of Niagara Falls. So that's also the beauty of us getting together in talking about these various programs because we all work together so nicely to maximize benefits and incentives for people out there and for businesses and job seekers as well. So again, thanks, Dennis. Next up on our program is Karen Quandrits, who's the Assistant VP of Academic Affairs at NCCC's Workforce Development Center. Karen, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mike. And if you haven't checked out the podcast, Room 9, on Dennis's site, it is something amazing. So I encourage you to do that. So thanks for having me. Kathy, you can go to right to the next slide. So many of you may be familiar with Niagara County Community College 4-credit certificate and degree programs, but NCCC also has an entire workforce development department. Our mission is to provide innovative, customer-responsive training opportunities that lead to the economic development of our communities. So what we're talking about here is job training and job retention. Our vision is empowering our community through the development of a skilled, dynamic, and diverse workforce. And that's really the name of the game. We're trying to close those skills gap and get those workers to the businesses that need them. So I'm not looking to offer courses in workforce development just for the sake of offering programs. We really want to align what we're offering to the in-demand occupations that the county identifies, but also what you need to keep your businesses afloat. Next slide. So what do we do? On the left side was an ad that I just had in the perspectives of the Buffalo News, and it says it well. We offer in-person, hybrid, and online classes to start or accelerate a career. So a person looking to have short-term non-credit training or someone looking to advance their career, we have what I call standalone programs. And those are in allied health like EMT and farm tech, sterile processing, and medical billing. We have IT, Google IT Network Support Professional, AWS Cloud Computing, all kinds of culinary and hospitality programs, trade and manufacturing, and supply chain and logistics. So these are courses that are offered 2 to 3 times a year. Funding is available for a lot of them. Dennis sends people my way. Don Jablonski's group sends a lot of people my way, as does other funders. The other thing, though, is we do customized training for businesses. So we come at it at 2 different angles, working with the businesses and working with the individuals. On the right-hand side, in 2019, I did a large business survey. And the top training needs for Western New York businesses were OSHA and safety, supervisory leadership, Microsoft Office and project, all the trade and industrial, whether it's electrical, machining, welding, and then culinary and hospitality. And although COVID may have changed some of these needs, we're still seeing that a lot of businesses are looking for exactly this. Next slide, please. So last year we provided just that. We had over 2,500 attendees in our workforce development programs, both the standalone and custom, and things like motorcycle training and things like that. We've worked with over 100 businesses, and we provided 66,000 plus contact hours. I'm not going to read through the whole list, but these are the things that we did do, and it aligns well with what the needs were. Our basic life support, our Heart Saver programs are in schools, nursing homes, large companies, restaurant groups, and individual groups. Drone operations have really taken off with home inspectors and marketing companies. We could also prepare people for the FAA 107, Part 107 exam. For drone, our instructor is excellent. He designed the drone program for the New York State Troopers and is a trooper himself. We do management and leadership for anywhere from someone local like the aquarium all the way to Jamestown Container. So all over. Next slide, please. So I put an exclamation point next to customized learning because as I putting this presentation together, I couldn't believe the variety of things that we have provided in the last year. Business communication, we did a lot of moving employees into management positions from entry-level positions once they were a solid employee and we wanted to bring them along. Team building, I'll talk a little bit more at our Niagara Falls Culinary Institute. And OSHA compliance was huge. Over 130 hours of training we've done, everything from fall protection at Hoskus to fork truck refreshers at Eastman Kodak. So we could develop a 1 or 2 year training program for you. We've worked with, like you said, large companies like Wendell or Brunner or Audubon, but we also work with small companies too that have very specific bloodborne pathogens or just OSHA 10 needs. Unfortunately, sometimes we get the call after there's been an industrial accident because they need to put a place in ASAP, but we encourage people not to wait or let that happen. Computer applications has been big. Microsoft 365, right in the midst of COVID, we had a local company, Health System Services, go fully remote with 3 locations. But they really wanted everyone to maximize their Office 365, everything from calendars to team meetups. So we were able to provide 3 classroom trainings virtually for all 44 of their employees, and it worked out wonderfully. Or company like Niagara Industrial Mechanical wanted to try out Microsoft Project and see if this is something that would benefit his company. So I was able to send a trainer right there for 5 of their staff to get to know that product as well. So again, whether it's a new schematics or blueprints that your company is bringing in, and you need to bring your staff up to speed, or computer issues, or in one case, a company had one person, 70 years old, who did all the soldering, and they thought maybe it's time to teach a few more people how to do that soldering just in case, and we could do that too. Kathy, next slide, please. I mentioned our culinary and hospitality. If you haven't been to the Niagara Falls Culinary Institute in downtown Niagara Falls, you are missing a beautiful workspace. It is our certificate in 2-year programs on the credit side. It's also all of my workforce development and community education kitchens, as well as a restaurant, Savor Restaurant, that reopens tomorrow. So again, if you haven't been there, I would say check that out. If you ever want a tour, please just contact me and I could do that as well. So what do we do with the culinary and hospitality space? We do it all. So we have nursing homes, skilled nursing facilities wanting menu consultation. They have to go within special diets, but they're still looking for additional flavor profiles. We had one hospital system just want help with the flow of how they get food out. So that was very interesting. Recipe development, and then we just finished with the New York State Maple Producers Association, and we developed recipes using New York State maple syrup. It's now a beautiful calendar, and they were so happy. They want the chef that provided those recipes to be their spokes-chef. We do pre-employment training, all the serve, safe, and tips training. We do American Culinary Federation certifications for sous chef and executive chef, and this is always exciting. Delaware North last year sent 31 executive chefs from everywhere from Yellowstone Park to the Boston Bruins operation to get all these certifications done, and we could do the prep and the testing right in our kitchens. Also very big, as I mentioned before, is that team building. Sumitomo Tire, Wegmans, they send whole groups, 10, 12 at a time, to do team building with our cooks and our chefs in a cooking space for team building. Next slide, please. So this is just a few of the funding sites that I use. The New York State Department of Labor Hazard Abatement Grant is on hold right now, but we're anticipating that it's going to come out soon. So if you have OSHA or safety needs, I can send you the information I need ahead of time to include you into this grant. And this grant includes 100% of funding for the OSHA and safety titles you need. Also, we have the SUNY Workforce Development Training Grant, which we're anticipating a fall start back up. In this case, 75% of training costs. They have some guidelines on what it could be used for, but it's a large grant, and when they do get it, they want it used. 2 things that are in play right now and have a lot of money with them is the SUNY Apprenticeship Training Grant and the NICAN Apprenticeship Grant. So I'll talk about apprenticeship in a minute, but these are both ways to fund your related instruction for apprenticeship. Also, Don mentioned that he has customized training money, on-the-job training money. which we have partnered with their organization to make sure that you have that customized training that you need for your business with some of the funds available to get that done at a cheaper cost. Our Small Business Development Center here at Niagara County Community College also has money for consultation and some workshops that we tap into. Esprit, which is in Niagara Falls, we also use for funding those standalone programs. And Mike Liberta and I from Workforce Development Institute work closely together for, they're a statewide not-for-profit, and we work closely for programs for retention, promotion, leadership, upskilling, and safety and equipment. So I can't promise you that your training is going to be 100% funded or 75% funding. I can promise you I'll look at every funding opportunity or agency out there to get it at a reduced cost if possible. Next slide, please. So I wanted to touch quickly on apprenticeship, and two things usually come to mind when you think about apprenticeship, and that's trades and unions. But I want to tell you that 830 registered apprenticeships in New York State, only 35% are union apprenticeships. And SUNY does have an apprenticeship model that includes colleges. And so what we would be able to do is industry roundtables, which I have held for manufacturing and logistics and IT, getting people together and saying, what are your needs? Can we do a consortium apprenticeship or an individual apprenticeship? We would also do pre-apprenticeship programs, provide the related instruction required for apprenticeship, and talk to you about curriculum development. The registered apprentices are paid employees of your organization. So either they're people you're bringing in and starting an apprenticeship with, or people that you want to upskill through apprenticeship. And then the biggest piece is the employers. The employer or an employer group has to be the sponsor. And what the benefit for you is that you're going to get a pipeline of qualified applicants. You have a structured, consistent training program. And all the research out there says that if you provide education and apprenticeship opportunities, you're going to retain those employees. 80 to 90% of, depending on which area, of employees in apprenticeships stay with the company. And there's all kinds of, again, training funds and state incentives out there. So again, I said you're thinking about those advanced manufacturing titles, but there's over 150 active New York State apprenticeship titles, things like bakers and cooks, computer support technicians, counseling aides, early childhood associates, graphic arts, linoleum and carpet layers, project managers, software developers. Again, over 150 titles. And what's exciting is if there's not a title there, the state and SUNY are always looking for people to develop those titles. So never say never if one of those titles aren't there. Okay, next slide, please. So another thing I wanted to tell you about apprenticeship is you may be thinking that they have to be large numbers of employees. We have apprenticeships as few as 2 people at businesses, up to 7 people at businesses. So it's not uncommon to do an apprenticeship with, I have a need for 2 people or 3 or 4. That's perfectly fine, and the Department of Labor will really handhold you through this process because they want these apprenticeship funds to be used. So the SUNY apprenticeship covers a portion of the related instruction costs for the registered apprentices if you use a SUNY college. So I get reimbursed a portion of the training for not only apprentices, but pre-apprentices. They cover costs if you're doing a competency-based program and you want to test people out. We'll cover the cost of the assessment to see if they could test out some of that apprenticeship training. And then there's also another kind of on-the-job training for employers with 50 or fewer employees. There's state tax incentives tied to apprenticeships. And then there's also the apprenticeship expansion grants that provide further coverage to cover cost of apprenticeships. So I just wanted to make sure, we could talk for hours about apprenticeship, but make sure that if you're a small business, you're not thinking that you could be a large manufacturer or a union to take advantage of apprenticeship training. A lot of people offer the related instruction. and do a great job with it. We're just able to tap into additional funding for those courses. The only other thing I wanted to mention is that we do have a youth grant at Niagara County Community College, and I am looking for area businesses to do a work experience with these individuals. They will be in culinary and hospitality programs. They will be in supply chain and logistics. They'll be in residential electrical and pharmacy tech. And if you have a position that you'd like to try someone out at, they will have 20 hours of pre-employment training, and then I am able to pay for them at your site to have 20 hours of work experience. So I will make sure that Kathy has information on that to send out to you. I know I gave you a lot of information, so feel free to contact me by phone or check out our website. It's always updated. And has information on those standalone, custom, and apprenticeship programs. So thank you so much. I appreciate the time.
Thank you, Karen. And just a reminder, everyone's going to get this slide deck sent to them via email and the Connections for Business publication in the mail by Pony Express. So be expecting those items, and you'll be able to contact any of our presenters. Finally, our cleanup hitter, my old friend Joe Steinmetz, the interim director of adult and continuing ed programs at Orleans Niagara BOCES. Joe, the floor is yours, my friend.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks to all of you for having me here and having our panel with you. First of all, let me a clarification. My title is interim director. I, for many years, was the director of career and technical education, adult education, and instructional services. When I retired in November of 2019, we agreed that I would stay on to help out with the transition, especially for adult and continuing education. Mike Wiro, Dr. Mike Wiro is on the call with us today listening in. He's my replacement, and Katie Bongiovanni is with me actually in this office listening in, and we'll be transitioning to their leadership in the next month or so, next few months. One thing I wanted to, you can go to the next slide. One thing I wanted to talk about and mention to you that you're all business leaders. I presume most of you are business leaders, and I'm addressing you as such, but you're also parents and grandparents. And I think it's really important for you to understand if you have children or grandchildren who are looking for directions in life. And I've got 2 sons myself, and they're constantly looking for direction in life. They just don't come to me to find it, but they are drifting into careers. And if you have grandchildren and children that are like my sons, they're figuring out their lives as we go along. And some of the programs that we have are especially designed to meet the needs. You'll see 2 categories really: the skilled trades and the health occupations programs that Orleans Niagara BOCES focuses on. And under the skilled trades, I'll be talking about our full-time programs, part-time programs, and our role in the apprenticeship programs in Niagara County, as well as the health occupation programs. And I can tell you that those programs, LPN, CNA, are really critical in this COVID time. You've heard lots and lots about nursing homes, and a lot of our candidates through our programs go into nursing homes. One thing that's important to say, that to lay the groundwork for Niagara County, is we frankly in Niagara County have long neglected the skilled trades. There just have not been good training programs. Niagara Community College, which is a great college, is really focused and is beginning to renew their focus on the skilled trades, which is great. But BOCES has been doing this all along. And if you go to the next slide, what in the facility on the upper right hand corner is it's Route 31. It's actually Saunders Settlement Road, but Route 31 was so much briefer. I put that on the slide. But that's our Career and Technical Education Center, which is really a high school facility. Vocational training that goes on there, which has been great and very, very expanding. There are about 1,000 kids participating in programs there. What we were doing for years is double dipping on that facility and using the students leave at 3, and we bring adults in to do training in there from 5 o'clock into the evening. 2 challenges with that. Number one is that it put a lot of stress on our facility. And also although it's a great location, centrally located, we're really in a lot of cornfields. And so the population centers are Lockport, of course, North Tonawanda, and Niagara Falls, and we weren't where our customers were always. And frankly, the bus transportation is not great getting to get to our center from either Lockport or Niagara Falls. So about 3 years ago, we were awarded a grant from, actually, we worked with a partner organization who was the fiduciary agent on it, but we have benefited from an Empire State Development grant, the Buffalo Billion. We received about $1.3 million. When I say we received it, we were the beneficiaries of it, in terms of equipment and facility renovation. And the 50 Main Street site was a site that was an old bank building on Main Street in Lockport, was donated to us by the county and city of Lockport. And we've been refurbishing that as a training center. We also have moved into the Harrison Place, the old Harrison 1 plant on Walnut Avenue in Lockport. And we've taken there's a lot of, it's an incubator facility, a lot of interesting things going on in there. But we've taken some space in there and running a number of our training programs in there. And then we also took over the old Board of Education, one of the old Board of Education buildings at 6th and Walnut in Niagara Falls. And with the funding and some other funding that we've received, we've kind of refurbished that building. We're a tenant there, but we control the entire space. And we've done a lot of programming in there, and I'll get to that in a minute. So those really were constant. We still do some things on Route 31 in Sanborn, our Sanborn site. We still have some training going on there, but we've been concentrating on expanding our programming in Lockport and in Niagara Falls. Next slide, please. So in our adult program, I don't have them all listed here. These are the full-time programs. These are the full-time programs that we've listed. And what we'll do is that with the information will be sent to you, I'll have a link to our catalog, and you can see all of our programs and the time schedule and all the people and all the information. You'll have a link to that. But we do electrical, full-time electrical, HVAC, machine tool, CNC, welding, and building trades. In our Niagara Falls site, we've put in a 15 booth welding facility, and then we've got a really great machine tool set up in there. The HVAC program and the electrical program are taking place in our Lockport facilities, and building trades we're doing in both places. It's important to note, one of the reasons that it's important to go full-time is for two reasons. Number one, employment and training will fully fund students if it's a full-time program, which means I think it's 216 hours total, and I think it's 16 hours a week programming. But that's one reason, is that students can be fully funded by employment training if they qualify, as well as some other sources. ESPRI funds us with the same funding sources that Karen and Don were referencing, as well as Access VR. The other reason is, as we were just running night programs before, it was taking students a long time to get through a program. So we did our HVAC program, for example, in 3 sessions. It would take them 1.5 years to get through the program part-time. When you've got a 25-year-old young man or woman who says, you know what, I've been working at 7-Eleven long enough, I really want to get a full-time job, and I see what it's all about. They want to get through a program and get into it fast. So by having the HVAC program, a full-time program, they're usually 8 to 12 weeks. They can be out, have enough background to get a job and get right into the workforce. So that was one of the reasons we really wanted to go to this full-time program. Next slide, please. We also do the, did we skip slide? No. Nope, okay. We also, we're the lead educational organization for the skilled trades in New York State, or for Niagara County. What that means for the apprenticeship program, what that means is that we work with individual companies. We help the companies sign up their students for apprenticeship programs, And we are responsible, we are designated by the state of New York to track the progress that every apprentice is making in Niagara County. And that means we work with the particular company. We need to know what the company wants the apprentices to go through. If we don't have the program, we can either develop the program or we can advise the company on where the program is available. And it might, I think at one point I said, well, students can get that program down in Erie County, maybe in Erie, One BOCES or some other place, maybe the Niagara Community College would offer it, but we will identify the program if we don't have it. And then we track the progress that each apprentice is making as we go through the program. A couple of years ago, we had a company that wanted, they had 8 apprentices, and they said, you know, it'd be great to have a masonry program for them. And so we developed a masonry program and put them through a part-time masonry program. So we do a lot of work on the apprenticeship program. Next slide, please. And then we also have all these part-time programs, and a lot of these part-time programs are specifically for the masonry. For the apprenticeship programs. So schematics, industrial math, blueprint reading, HVAC, electrical. I asterisked a couple of programs at the bottom, masonry and mechanical pump repair, because those are very specialized programs that we offer. We might offer the mechanical pump repair every couple of years based on need. And then the masonry program I mentioned was one that was specifically designed, and we're willing to do that at any time. We just need to have the conversation with you on what you're looking for. The programmable logic controllers is another one that has been really important for a lot of our companies to get into that, and that's a very specialized program as well. But this is not the extensive list of all of our programs, because some of them, someone might need a program that we'll offer every 3rd year or every so often, and we just keep in touch with our companies and our clients on what they're looking for and when they're looking for it. We generally, if we have an apprentice that needs to get through the program and we've only got 2 or 3 students in there, even though it might be a slight loss for us financially, we understand the importance of getting a student through the program. So as long as we're making up revenue in some of our other programs, we'll, even if there's only 2 or 3 students, that we may be willing to let that program go forward. Next slide. And then our health occupations, and I mentioned before that this is really, in this time, it's really a very important program to run. It's also a difficult program to run because it's staff intensive. Nurses, there's a lot of clinical components where they work in nursing homes. As you can imagine, in these times of COVID, it's been a very difficult program to run. Not only have we been running it virtually, but also it's been very difficult you can't even go into the nursing homes to do the clinical. And it really is a program that requires hands-on. But at any rate, it's a 14-month program. We're kind of looking at that again and figuring out if we need to change some of the things in it, but it's been very, very successful. I can tell you that part of the reason it's been successful is because Karen Quandrins used to be in charge of it over at our place. Congratulations, Karen. And she had a legacy. She inherited a good program. She kept it going very well. We have, of the students that complete the program, and that's probably about 60 or 70% of them who start actually finish the program. 100% of them go on and get their New York State license and get into the field. So we do a very, very good job with the program. The CNA program, CNA are much in demand in nursing homes. In many ways, it's a thankless job, and there's a high need for the CNAs. We put them through a program in about 5 weeks. We also have a new program, which is a CNA HHA transition program. HHA is more and more people are asking for nursing assistants to go into homes as opposed to going into a nursing home and providing help in a nursing home. So this trains individuals who already have their certified nursing assistant certification to be able to become a home health aide and actually go into people's homes and work with them there. We partner with our hospitals and nursing homes and continuing care facilities for clinical instruction and for employment. And that's been a great partnership moving forward. And we also have a regular phlebotomy course that we teach, much in demand, of course, of doing blood draws, and that's a skill that individuals really need. Do I have another slide? Maybe at my end. Oh, Karen mentioned the youth program. We do have the WIOA youth program as well. Both Niagara Community College and Orleans Niagara BOCES are supported through funding from the county in this program. It's really designed to get young men and women to get oriented towards career paths. And so we are looking to partner kind of a shadowing or an internship program with our different companies so that these young people, some are in school still, some are out of school. I think the 16 to 24-year-olds, they may have dropped out of school. They may be looking for something after school, and they can get into this. And there's financial incentives for the students to participate and learn what it really is to be to have a career, to go into the workplace. And we also, looking for companies to partner with. We send the students into there for shadowing and internship experiences. And I do believe that is my last slide. So thanks again for the ability to participate with you today.
Thank you, Joe. And I want to thank you and the leadership of Orleans Niagara BOCES for your expansions out to Niagara Falls and Lockport. Mobility has always been an issue with young people looking to get the training they need to enter the workforce, and you tackled that very well, and we appreciate that. So thank you for that.
Thanks.
Kathy, do we have any questions from any of our attendees? I don't see any.
We do.
Oh, you were muted there.
Yes, we do, Mike.
Okay.
The first question is, somebody is wondering whether there are background or security check assistance available, getting those done.
I don't know who that best would be sent to. Don, Dennis, Joe?
We don't do background checks on the people that we work with. I mean, if someone applies for a job and a background check is required and there's a cost, we may be able to help them with that cost, but we don't actually do background checks for people.
Nor do we, Mike. And honestly, we won't pay for them. It's not part of our WIOA grant. So that's something we won't do.
If you're talking about assistance with doing that, I'm not sure, but for students to come into our programs, we do some level of background check. Mostly if they're, what their history is, if they've had any incidents with law enforcement, or also any if they've got any incidents of sexual misconduct. That does not prevent students from coming into our programs.
Thank you. Anything else, Kathy? Any other questions?
Yes, another one is on enrollment. How is enrollment in the skilled trades, and are there many students available to be connected to the apprenticeships?
Maybe I'll throw that one at Karen. I think you might have to unmute yourself. There you go.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't get it to go for a minute. Yeah, so what's important to know about apprenticeships is the apprenticeship has to start with the business. So we could train tons of people, and Joe could train tons of people in standalone machining and welding and things like that. But if it's truly a registered apprenticeship, that sponsorship has to come from the business. So a business wants to sponsor 2, 3, 10 individuals in an apprenticeship, and or a group like the Rochester Manufacturing Alliance holds the sponsorship for the apprenticeship in that area. So yeah, we're seeing increased interest in going into skilled trades. I think people are starting to see that that's a really good area to go into, that there's jobs open in that area, that there are funding streams available for that, not only for the company, but for individuals just deciding I've got to do something new. But as far as apprenticeship training, unless you're going to a union, if you're going to a union, they're recruiting their own individuals for apprenticeship, and there's all kinds of a scoring to get into those apprenticeships. If you're an individual looking for an apprenticeship, you'd have to have a business that would sponsor you for that apprenticeship. So if you have more questions about that, I can talk to you more about that offline, or I can hook you up with the Department of Labor. Amy Hatfield is our rep in our area, and I can give you her information.
Again, for the person who asked that question, you'll be getting the slide deck, and you'll have a hot link to Karen's email if you want to reach out to her, and if you have more questions for.
Can I chime in on that as well?
Sure, go ahead, Joe.
Again, Karen's right. We do the apprenticeship program as well. But the question about availability of students, and I mentioned at the beginning, all of our students coming out of our high school program, we've got a lot of kids coming out of our high school program. Unfortunately, a lot of them have been going down to Alfred and out of the area. And again, Niagara Community College is starting to have more programs. Actually, Niagara Community College works with us on a welding program, a degree welding program. So our high school kids will come right out of our program in high school and then go to Niagara Community College and get some welding certifications. So, and we're looking at some more partnerships like that. But again, the skilled trades, auto tech, electrical, in terms of associate's degrees in those programs have been not forthcoming in Niagara County. But I think that's going to change in the future.
And all for the good, I'm sure. Kathy, any other questions?
Yes, there's for Don. Someone's asking when the Lockport Worksource One office will be reopening, or will it be reopening again?
Well, thanks for the question. That is a Department of Labor office. That's not ours. So at the moment, the New York State Department of Labor has no plans to reopen due to COVID-19 restrictions. We have another Department of Labor office that's located here at the Trott Building, and they're not here yet either. But if somebody is looking for services, they can come down to our office here at 1011 11th Avenue here in Niagara Falls. And our office is open every day from 9 to 3.
Thanks, Don. Any other questions, Kathy?
That's it that are posted. Several people have indicated that they'll be following up with you after they receive the slide deck.
That's fantastic. That's what it's all about. And of course, we've been recording this session, and you may be able to find this session somewhere online sometime. Right, Kathy? Or am I speaking out of school?
We're going to work to get it on our website.
Yeah, that'll be good. So thanks to all of our presenters. Great information from each and every one of you. We appreciate your time today. It was about an hour and 5 minutes is what we projected. Thanks so much. When you leave the session, attendees, you're going to receive a survey that'll appear in a new window in your browser, in your internet browser. We would appreciate your comments and feedback, and we hope to see you at a future event. So thanks again to our presenters. So long, everybody. Have a great day.